Whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Now, I don't know who came up with that bullshit, but it's never resonated with me. In the moments where I feel like I have truly failed myself and failed other people, they have not felt like moments of personal growth. They have felt like moments of heartbreak, where all that I can say is that I have been fundamentally changed. And I want to talk today about my friend Chino. Let me introduce you to my friend Chino. Chino is young. He's just turned 20 years old. He is from a place called San Pedro Sula, Honduras, one of the most dangerous cities in the entire world. It goes back and forth with El Salvador for the murder capital. Chino is young and poor and uneducated and has lived a very rough and dangerous life. If Chino had a Facebook profile under interests, it would say drinking, smoking weed, listening to reggaeton, doing all types of ill shit, and also smuggling Central Americans from the Guatemala border up to the US-Mexico border. I know Chino because for the last 10 years or so, I have been working with undocumented migrants from Latin America coming to the United States, border crossers, clandestine migrants. I've been studying this process and trying to understand what life is like for folks when they are on the move. You cannot study undocumented migration without interacting with smugglers, coyotes, pasadores, polleros, people who get paid to move migrants from point A to point Z. It's an incredibly dangerous occupation with a very short life expectancy. And so I met Chino in the summer of 2015 on the train tracks in a tiny town called Pacalna in the Mexican state of Chiapas. Pacalna is a very dangerous place where migrants, hundreds of thousands of migrants come in every year on a Mexican freight train as they're heading north. And Chino, my first memory of Chino is watching him chase after this moving train as it's loading cargo trains on him. He is wearing basketball shorts, a t-shirt, and Crocs. He climbs on the top of this moving train and starts leaping back and forth from train car to train car as it's moving. Smugglers wearing Crocs, who knew, right? But I remember thinking to myself, this guy is insane, he is crazy. You have to be crazy, you have to be insane to be involved in the world of human smuggling. It is incredibly dangerous and complicated. You rob, you cheat, you steal, you do everything that you can to make $1 and occasionally help people move from point A to point Z. But that is my friend Chino. And I like Chino because Chino is different from every other smuggler that I've ever worked with, that I've ever spent time with. He's funny, and he's earnest, and he has dreams and aspirations, and his heart has not been turned into complete stone by spending a life on the train tracks. But some days Chino is so high on drugs and alcohol that he doesn't want to go on living. He tells me, Jason, I'm just going to drink this bottle of bleach and I'm going to kill myself because there is nothing left for me. And then other days Chino is high on drugs and drunk and euphoric, and he says, you know what, today's my day, I'm going to get out. Today's my day, I'm going to do something. I'm going to conquer the world today. I say, oh yeah, Chino, and then what's next after that? Well, then I'm going to settle down. So I love Chino, and I think that he can be somebody, he can be something else. He does not have to be on the train tracks for the rest of his life. But it's difficult to get out of the game once you're in it. It is very, very difficult to put those things away and to walk away from that lifestyle. And that is where Larissa comes into play. Larissa is a migrant also from San Pedro Sula, from a community called La Planeta, one of the most dangerous communities in all of El Salvador, in all of Central America. And she's tough as nails, and she has been left behind by her group. And she finds Chino on the train tracks. And Chino says, hey, I will help you, I'm a smuggler, come with me. And Chino looks at her, and she looks at him, and they fall in love. And Larissa sees something in Chino that I have seen. She sees a good heart. She sees someone who is funny. She sees someone who doesn't want to do this lifestyle anymore. And Chino is torn. He says, well, you're with us, and my other smuggler buddies, we're going to take you farther north. I will help you. But Chino deep down knows that that's not what they're going to do. That they're going to take Larissa and these other women in the group, and they're going to take them to the next town and hand them over to kidnappers, who will tie them up, who will extort money from their family, and who will do God knows what to them. And Chino can no longer be involved in those things. So he says, we're getting out of the game. Larissa and I we're going to go to Guatemala, Chino tells me. We're going to become farmers. I hear it's beautiful there. That is the plan. And the gang says to Chino, that's fine, brother. You want to get off the train tracks? You want to get out of this lifestyle? Go ahead. but if we see you on these train tracks again, we are going to kill you. So get out. And Chino says, well, what am I going to do? I've got no money, I've got no friends, I've got no one to call, I've got no place to go back to. What do I do now? Chino asks me for help. He says, hey, can you help me? Jason, yes, Chino, as your friend, not just a researcher who's here to write about your life, as your friend, I want to help you in any way that I can. How can I help you? He says, well, can you give us a ride into town? We want to go to this place called Palenque. It's a big archaeological site where many Americans come and go on vacation and see the beautiful ruins. I said, sure, Chino, get in the car, let's go for a ride. So Chino and I and Larissa get in the car and we drive around Palenque on a Sunday afternoon. And the windows are down and the wind is blowing and we're listening to my bad music and they're not understanding it because it's all in English. And he's pointing everything out to her. He says, look, there's the airport where the gringos fly in. Look, there's the plaza in Palenque where people come and eat ice cream and eat food and have a good time. There are beautiful parts of Mexico. It is not all this ugly darkness of the train tracks in Pakalna. And someday you and I will have these things. And Chino says to me, take us back to Pakalna. We have to go back to the tiny room that we've rented. We have to go and wait for Larissa to get paid from her temporary job so we can go back to Central America. So I pull the car up to the train tracks and we get out. And I hug him as hard as I possibly can, and I say, what can I do, Chino? Here's all the money from my pockets. Here is my cell phone. Here is whatever I can give you right now. How can I help you? And he says, don't worry about it, man. We're going to figure this out. I will call you and let you know when you can help me. And I say goodbye to Chino. I get in the car and I drive away. And I remember thinking to myself, man, this is some twisted Romeo and Juliet shit. What am I doing here? What am I doing? Several days go by later, and a year later, when Larissa is explaining it to me, she says, the first thing she says is, it was the biggest knife that I'd ever seen. It was about this big. And they came up behind Chino, and they stabbed him in the chest, and they stabbed him in the side, and they stabbed him in the stomach, and he fell to the ground, and there was blood everywhere. And I screamed, she said, and I was afraid for my life. And I ran and called the police, and the cops came, and the ambulance came, and we picked up Chino's bleeding body, we put him on a stretcher, and we took him to the hospital. I get a message on WhatsApp from Chino 3 days later. And it's a photograph of him in a hospital bed, bandaged up, smiling like this, and it says, I told you those fuckers were going to kill me if I didn't get on the train tracks. You didn't believe me. He said, Chino, my God, how can I help you? You've got to get out of there. This is a dangerous, dangerous situation. What can we possibly do? He says, don't worry about it. I'm okay. They got me, but I'm not down. I'll call you and let you know when I can help you. So can I call you back on this number? No, don't call this number back because I stole it from the security guard in the hospital. And if he hears it ringing, he's going to know that it was me who took it. So I'll call you from a different phone. 4 days later, he sends me another photograph from a different phone number. This time he's in a bus station in southern Mexico, getting ready to get on the bus. He's thinner than I remember him. He's pale, but he looks pretty good. He looks all right. And he says, hey man, we're heading back to Mexico. We're heading back to Honduras. Larissa and I are going to get married. We're going to move in with my grandparents. We're going to live in this shack in the back. Things are going to work out. Okay, Chino, just let me know what I can do, man. Just call me, tell me what I can do for you. How can I help you as your friend? He says, don't worry, I'll let you know. 3 days later, Larissa calls me in the middle of the night, but I don't hear it because my phone is on silent. So I don't get her message until early the next morning. And I remember so vividly standing in my bedroom in Ann Arbor, Michigan, looking out the window at my neighbor's well-manicured lawn and the giant trees on my street. And I'm playing this message over and over and over again. And it says, Jason, Roberto is dead. Roberto Paredes, which is Chino's real name, Roberto is dead. He is dead. And I remember sitting there thinking to myself that why didn't I just say, get your skinny ass in this car and I will drive you someplace else. We're not going back to the train tracks. We will go someplace else, any place but here. And so when people tell me that the things that don't kill you make you stronger, I think that that's not necessarily true, because there are things sometimes that just about kill you, and all they do is fundamentally change you forever.